Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild landscape of Scotland. And as you can see, since last week's videos when I was at that abandoned like World War II airfield and stuff, check it out since then, it's been raining really heavy. Look how ferocious this river here is in front of me. Normally the edge of the river is like away across there, but today it's right to the bottom of these steps. And I just kind of came down here at the... This is a random little start to the video. I'm not sure where this video is about to go, but I just thought I would show you the ferociousness of a Scottish river in a storm. And just look at this watery environment we're in, folks. The rain's so heavy. Exploring some crazy abandoned wonders is actually limited today, but I'm not sure about tomorrow how the weather's going to be. But this is just insane to see. Like, the water's pure brown, and that's just because of the flow. Taking all the silt and like the dirt away from the land. This is the highest I've seen the river in honestly months, but it's super cool to see. That's the reason that these embankments are often built quite far from the edge of the river. Like in the storms, the water's right up to them. This is kind of like the Powerners Brig area in Angus, and I literally just thought I would nip down and check the condition of the river, and it's so cool to see. Anyway, on with the next part of this video, folks. Alright folks, welcome to this incredible abandoned historical wonder hidden in the wild landscape of Scotland. And this week I'm absolutely limited as to where I can go because there's been such heavy rain. The roads are all flooded out here in Scotland, and there's like travel restrictions and stuff they're saying. But like literally even to come to this location today, the roads were super flooded. I had to come like a secondary route. Things like that, so I'm totally limited, and that's why I've managed to luckily come to this incredible World War II location. I have been here a couple of times like over the years, but it's often cool to come back and document wee bits of history like this hidden in these wild lands all different times of year. Some of this stuff's just like super overgrown. This is actually the Stracathro Aerodrome, which was a training airfield, an RAF training airfield in World War II. And there's some really interesting little historical wonders dotted around this site. But today we've come to look at this area, which I suspect was either like a goods inward and outward side of the airfield, or potentially this was their fuel storage area here at the airfield, because they obviously needed fuel storage for the planes. And I believe the reason that this area would have been built here is because it was easy access for trucks and things like that to come in from the roadside. And there's a really interesting little old air raid shelter here hidden in the long grass. And on that air raid shelter, it's actually got the soldiers' names like scored into the cement who had constructed that bunker, and it's so cool to see things like that. Just imagine when those soldiers scored their names in there. It was the 1940s. At times of war, they would have been uncertain as to even the outcome of the war. They were basically signing their names and covering it over, not even knowing if the history would ever be seen again. And that's why it's cool to come and document it on the channel as well. Yeah, look at this. See the way it looks like a cement road here? It's actually staggered at each side, so it's high and then low, and then further down it's high at this side and then low at the left hand side. So it's almost like, for some reason they've been doing that. I wonder if the truck would be able to go up onto that kind of rise, and then it would be easier to unload it. Either that, for some reason they may have needed the aeroplanes to go over a surface which made it rock back and forth as it moved forward. I'm not sure of the exact history, but it's cool to come to these abandoned places and just see what's remaining. And let's push through this dense overgrowth right here. I've put the wellies on for this one because it's just been extreme rain. The rain has literally just gone off, and it was cool to come out and do an adventure. This week I'm limited as to how many adventures I'm doing. Obviously last week I was on like daily videos and it was so cool, but sometimes the weather itself can just restrict you for exploring. Look at this here, folks. This is an interesting detail of the history. Look, there's been like railings here mounted into the cement. Look at this. You can still see the remnants of it there. Wow, look at that there, folks. That's the sort of history that I love to see and document. Often it's so long between the times that I come to a place like this and I visit so many other abandoned wonders, I forget the little layers of history. And then often as I look around, I find things that I never even saw like the last time, or I didn't even know any of this existed. But as you can see, it's interesting how that area there is stepped up with like the railing on it. And I wonder if at an airfield like this, they may have had like surface tanks rather than tanks under the ground. And this could have been the area where stuff like that was stored. But yeah, those railings appear to have been all the way down this plinth, this unusual platform. Yeah, this place was actually built, I believe, 1940, or early days, folks. This was built, and then it was shut down in 1948. And there was actually an aircraft which crashed here, and the pilot died. They used to actually do, I'm sure it was like low-level approach to the runways in this area, and because this airfield was famous for like crosswinds, so the pilots used to practice landing in extreme like crosswinds apparently. But also the runway here leads right away across there, straight down here, and then there's a second bit at an angle kind of goes across. But the runway here isn't as big as some of the runways that we saw recently, like RAF Teeling, because it was a major airfield, whereas this one was like a training airfield. Maybe soldiers would come to an airfield like this for a period of time before getting sent to like Teeling Airfield. They would be full of knowledge and they would ken exactly what they were doing. And then this cement bit kind of leads there, and there's a track takes you right in. And around the runway's edge, I'll not go around there today because obviously it's super soaking everywhere, but there's actually where there would have been hangars located around the edge of the old runway. There's like hangars dotted around, and I love to see that sort of history as well. Check out this mad overgrown terrain right here, folks. I'm heading right into the middle of it to document the coolest footage. I love going to these cool places, the character of them, with the grey cement in front of the green and yellow grass. It's the character of abandoned warfare. And you have to imagine at one time this bunker here would have had a layer of earth on it, and that's the reason there's a metal pipe sticks out of the roof. That was like a breather pipe, and there would have been 3 of those breather pipes originally with an earth coating put over the top, so from the sky it would have hardly been seen, and also the earth would have given it an extra layer of protection. And then this wall here is actually the blast wall to prevent any shrapnel going flying in the door of the bunker. But not only just shrapnel, also the explosive force of a bomb or whatever landing out here. They would have had obviously this wall to defend the door of the bunker. But another interesting detail, this bunker type here would have had a metal type shutter on it on the front wall. And you can see the last remains where it was actually constructed in. So the entrance to this bunker was extremely strong. And I also wonder if the reason for that is because there was also fuel storage here, which would have been highly explosive and a prime target of the airfield. Because there is air raid shelters built at the other end of this airfield, and they're of completely different construction. They're more of like a prefabricated cement structure joined together with red stone brick ends, whereas this is fully reinforced cement. So it is interesting to see that difference with these 2 little bunkers, even though they're on the same airfield. So I just went back to the car to get the torch, folks, because I was thinking I've never had a torch when I've come to this little pill. I was going to call it a pillbox, but it's actually the air raid shelter. Yeah, so I went back to get the torch. But look at this, we've now come to the outside. We'll look at the outside features of this before we go inside. Look at that, 1941 right there, folks. Think of the history of that. See how it's been carved like a scroll. And almost when the stone's wet like that, you can really see the definition of the carving. That's the kind of history that we love to document on the channel, folks. Just think, every year that graffiti's actually eroding away and coming off. And sometimes videos like this is just a documentation. It shows you that this place here was built in 1941, and like I said, it was shut down 1948. It stopped being an operational RAF site. But like when they wrote this, it was like the heart of the war, and the uncertainty and the drama. It must have been just such a crazy time. This bunker air raid shelter just like stands here as a skeleton of that history, as a reminder. And look here, you can see where one of the 3 outlets on the roof has actually been broken off at a certain time. After the war, history like this wasn't actually that important, and a lot of the time the landowners and farmers, they didn't really care about preserving the history, and that's why sites like this are often just back to farmland and almost purely like destroyed or gone. And that's how it's cool to video them before they're fully gone. It's quite cool here how a structure like this is left. I just love to see it, a scene like that right there. And it's cool to see how high the metal pipe would have originally been as well. Almost looks like it's been a galvanised type of pipe. It's cool to see the last remains of the earth on top of this. At one time fully covered, you can just imagine how the heavy rain has just washed all the remnants of the earth away. Without constant maintenance and upkeep, these places just start to look like this, the fully degraded way they are. And look at this here, you can see where maybe the original wooden shuttering has been mounted in there and built. They would have simply put a wooden structure here with a metal rebar and then poured their cement in sections until they had a complete structure. And then that leaves this incredible cement, and you can actually see on the cement the wooden grain from the shuttering which at one time it was poured against. Look at this, the door, eh? It's just mad to think about the soldiers and the people that walked out and in this door. The conversations that they may have had. Just think of the culture of the world out and about, out with the fence line of this aerodrome. The noise of the planes coming out and in on the runway, practicing, training. And then the main hustle and bustle of the airfield up at the far end. Look at this here as well, folks. Since the war, this has actually been split into 2 separate little sections with an internal wall. And I think a gamekeeper at one time has been throwing all that stuff down. I'm actually thinking I'm going to jump down in and have a look, see what I can see. I don't think I've ever been in this bunker right here. So let's climb in. I hope there's no beasties down here. Wow. Every week now I'm going into bunkers and it's just mad. I'll get the torch on. Wow, folks, look how many! Whoa! No way! Look how many of these carriages is in here, folks. I can't even believe what we are witnessing right here. This is crazy. I've laid the torch down. I'm thinking about getting out here. Look at this. What? This is so much bigger than I was ever thinking. Check this out, folks. What a wild scene. World War II bunker right there. And I just love to document history and see things that I've never seen before. Stuff like this, super cool. Old history. Wow. Just think about the soldiers and stuff that was in here. Oh, I can't even believe how many of these cartridges is in. Look at these old Coke cans, look. I'm just trying to keep the camera and the torch. Obviously that was a bit shaky, folks. No way, look at that there. Old ginger beer, Schweppes. This is the kind of history that I love to document. Wow, there's so many creatures on the roof here. So many cave spiders. Look at that for a scene of abandoned history right here, folks. I always promise you the coolest of content, and I can't even believe that I've managed to climb in here. Look, there's butterflies and stuff hibernating there above my head. I must apologise for the shaky camera footage here. I need to get this torch under control. Anyway, I'm going to climb back out through this crazy amount of shotgun shells which appear to be here. Oh my goodness, folks. That was intense. That was so intense. See what I thought? I didn't even realise that that was so far in before it got to the wall. That was how, when I saw that, I had to go in. I thought it was just a tiny section here. Look at the detail with these metal rungs as well. And then there may have been some sort of little wooden lid or whatever up here. And look, little bits to look out, maybe to help rest the gun as you were shooting out of here. Or maybe if there was a lid or whatever, you could actually peek out these holes. Wow, folks, that is some cool history to see. I just had to go in and see if there was any other cool, like, little artifacts of the war on the floor in there. I'm sure somewhere around here, look, there's more soldiers' names. Check this out here, folks. Look, there's another one. 1941. I hope that comes out on the camera. It's so clear. It's so clear right there. 1941, just think of that soldier. And look, his name's on there. It would be so cool to get a bit of chalk and a bit of paper. Look at this as well, folks. Look, A. Suter. So if anybody knows an A. Suter that was in the RAF, World War II, stationed around Scottish airfields, this is where he was, helping to construct this magnificent World War II air raid shelter, which would have given the people working at this corner of the airfield somewhere to run to if the Germans had come over to bomb or invade. Anyway, let's keep this adventure going. Let's head inside here. Wow, that's been some interesting little details there though, folks, that we've seen. I must have been away in to probably like halfway down, and it's so lucky that I had the torch. And it's interesting that I was able to jump up and notice that as well. I just wish that would come out well on the camera, and I don't know how well it does come out. I'm just going to peek around the corner here at the end wall. There's no graffiti written here, but I had to have a wee look. Yeah, look, there's actual brackets and things being mounted on here. Look at that, metal brackets. I think that's been straight up and down on here. I'm not sure if they had like communications or whatever. Anyway, folks, I'm waiting to dry the screen here, and I'll dry the lens and I'll get back to you. That is mad, folks. I just love the adventure. See, climbing into something like that and just seeing the history that's on display. Imagining the soldiers or pilots that at one time huddled in there, or maybe they could hear the planes going overhead and they just had to wait it out. Look at this here. You can see the grain of the wood where it's been poured onto the shuttering. The cement's poured against the wood, like I was saying. It's cool to see those details. Anyway, let's head on inside this cool place, like. Let's see what details of the history remain here, folks. Look at this. Here's the first detail. Look, an old wartime footprint in the cement. Just think that could be a soldier's boot. Maybe the soldier who built this. And look at this detail where there's been an internal door as well as that external one that we saw. Look, the wood's still in there. Wow. Just think 1941 that wood was put in. Think about the person that put that in as well. Wow, this is so cool. You can see how it's got this cement render. I think that's been put over the original internal finish of the bunker. Yeah, I'm not sure if this has been maybe changed at a certain time for the use of like a farm shed or for keeping of animals. This is an original little chamber down here, like a sump, where I believe there would have been a drain leaving this site. And then look, there's been another door here. See, that shows you how many doors was literally to get into this bunker. Look at that. And a cool detail, look, World War II green RAF paint right there in that wood. That's mad, because that's just some of the last remaining little features there of a place like this. Yeah, I just love to see it. And the reason I like looking at the wee details is because that's the things that often disappear first. The more things get destroyed. Oh well, look, this must be... We were at the other side of this wall a minute ago. Let's take a look through, folks. We know what's through there now at least. Whoa, I feel cool wind coming out of there. See, I'm not sure, I think this is a later addition to the bunker. I'm not sure if this internal wall's original. This door and stuff's definitely not. And obviously this internal wall here is not original as well. Wow, I just love to see abandoned history from World War II, folks. Sometimes at a busy big airfield, these bunkers have actually got like 3 rows of benches, one at the side, one in the middle, and then one at that side. But yeah, it's just interesting to see the construction. 1940s, folks. Obviously the acoustics inside a thing like this is a bit crazy. With the echo, you must have heard the soldiers' echo coming out of this. Oh well, look, there's the breather pipe. Whoa, there's some massive spider webs up there. That's crazy. What a cool place. I'm not sure if this was a later addition. It's like it was used as a toilet after a good few years, but then that just runs to here. It's maybe been like a little feed trough or whatever for animals, for like even chickens or whatever. Because this is a big farming area here around the Stracathro area, and it's still a current farm. That's why I'm always respectful of like landowners and building owners. And because this bunker's got that cool original detail with the soldiers' names that actually built it, it really just connects the history with the location. You can really help. It really helps like imagine the people. And yeah, this is cool. Some of my favourite things to explore is actually RAF constructions. And you can see it there, look at the big steps. It's actually big steps like that which you find inside the battle headquarters bunkers. Like I was inside on the last video of the battle headquarters bunker, they're super deep. But it's big steps like that lead down to, like, within them. And that must have been what the RAF did. And the cement work inside here is just in such great condition, folks. Anyway, let's leave this cool historical wonder in peace. Look, the rain's back on here. And that's what we're dealing with in Scotland. Literally the roads is just so super flooded. And then the rain just doesn't stop, so it's not getting a chance to go away. And I'm really not getting a chance to go away anywhere either, so I'm just doing these wee adventures. When I would actually explore a place like this, I just love it. I love seeing it, and I love seeing how they did things and what's left of that time. Documenting it for people all over the world to see it. Look at this has actually been a fence of some sort mounted around here. And that maybe explains the little feed trough kind of bit inside the construction. It's maybe had its own little individual fence here with some animals running about. Oh, there's something under the grass here. What is it, folks? It's a big chunk of cement. No way, there's actually a beast crawling about down there. So many like millipedes. I think that's the name of the creature, folks. So many millipedes. It's a haven for wildlife now. And shout out to the farmer for leaving this in this incredible condition for us to explore. Anyway, now I'm going to try and get back out of this site without falling into a boggy hole. So there we go, another incredible piece of World War II history, documented, a little bit of history saved, like recording where they had signed that stuff. It would be cool to actually cover that up to prevent it eroding away. Like if there was some perspex or something fitted over it. It would just save the weather from taking its toll, because on days like this, folks, you can just see how it is. It's just wild in Scotland at times. I love exploring, even when it's raining and stuff, but obviously I'm just limited as to getting through the environment sometimes. It's just so flooded, even the roads. But anyway, that was a cool adventure. I'll end this one here, folks. I'll be back very soon with the next scene, wherever I end up going.